with a job and being able to own the fruits of your labor. I think the South would have been a lot more prosperous had they recognized that sooner. That's not, that's one of the reasons that the North became so much more wealthy than the South, was because they weren't dependent on slave labor. They were, far more of a free market in labor. And so they developed industries much more efficiently than in the South. Anyway, I did have something else I wanted to talk about. Let me see what it was. Oh yeah, how could I forget? Last and definitely least, I wanted to talk about Hunter Biden. Although I'm not even sure if I can say that name without the YouTube police, trying to suppress my views. But the news came out today after all this investigation and after all the dirt. In fact, recently, the stuff that's come out is even worse. Now, the numbers keep going up, 20 million, 30 million. This is how much money the Biden family was paid to basically sell out the country and peddle influence. I mean, this is borderline treason, right? I mean, this is big stuff. It's not just, money laundering or wire fraud or racketeering or whatever charges that you could throw on them. I mean, to me, if you are an elected official, especially the vice president of the United States, if you're taking money from foreigners in order to pursue a foreign interest at the expense of a domestic interest, I mean, isn't that treason? I mean, you're not like giving them our launch codes or something. It's not like in a war, but you're basically selling out your country for money. I mean, I don't think you should, even take bribes from Americans, right? But you certainly shouldn't take bribes, from the Chinese or from the Ukrainians. That's got to be even worse, right? I mean, they're both bad, but come on, when you're talking about the scale of it, the Bidens were basically an organized crime family, is what they were, and the Godfather, was Joe Biden, right? The big guy, right? It seems pretty obvious that this is the case. And Hunter Biden was deep in this. I mean, he was really, the main vehicle through which all this money was flowing. And he set up all these shell companies. What was it, 15 or 20 companies that do absolutely nothing but collect all the money that the Biden family was being, collecting in bribes in order to advance the interests of foreign nationals, foreign companies, whatever they were. And so after this whole investigation, they finally charge Hunter Biden with basically nothing. They charge him with a couple of misdemeanors related to income taxes. Now, I don't even know if he paid any income taxes on all his bribe money. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he declared that money, but I don't know, how he identified it. Like, what did he do to earn all that money? Because he doesn't apparently have any skills. I was watching on Tucker Carlson. Apparently, he fancies himself a bit of an artist. His art didn't look that great, but apparently the paintings are selling for, $50, $100, $200,000 a pop. I wonder what they're buying when they're giving Hunter Biden all that money for his paintings, because it's probably not art. But, they slapped him on the wrist with a couple of misdemeanors. I'm not even sure, like, he filed his returns late or what he did. But, it's no big deal. And then he got some kind of gun charge. Apparently he was, he was using drugs or something. And, and he applied for a gun permit and lied about the fact that he was on drugs. And so he got a gun that he wasn't supposed to get. But apparently there's like no big deal. He's not going to jail at all. It's, kind of like a slap on the wrist. And now I guess that's it. And, what bothers me more about this thing. It's not that, he got this sweetheart deal. I mean, whatever he did with his income taxes, if he filed his returns late, that's not the big deal. The big deal is that this is all they're focusing on. The investigation is over. Like, Hunter Biden can go on his way. They're not looking into any of this other stuff. All this new evidence that has just come to light about all the bribes that he took that are far more important than buying that gun or whether or not he was late on filing his tax returns. This big stuff is now getting completely swept under the rug. They're basically saying, okay, we're done with Hunter now. We have nothing to investigate him for. We've wrapped this thing up. We're moving on. And of course, if they're no longer investigating Hunter, well, that means they're no longer investigating the big guy, or not like they were ever investigating the big guy. They're not going to investigate him at all. Because if you're not going after Hunter, well, then you're not going to go after Biden, the big guy. Because unless you show that Hunter Biden was taking bribes, then you can't show that Joe was taking them because he was getting the money from Hunter. So basically, the investigation is over. And, this, in sharp comparison to what the Justice Department is doing with Donald Trump, where they're trying to get 100 years in jail because he took these documents to Mar-a-Lago, right? What the Bidens did is so much worse. Even if what Trump did, he shouldn't have done. And if Hillary did it and Pence did it, and who knows how many people have done exactly what Trump has done, and it was no big deal. But even if that was wrong, it pales in comparison to what the Bidens have done, and they get away with it completely. So talk about, a two-tiered justice system. The Biden administration wants to make a big deal when they go after Trump by saying, oh, you see, nobody's above the law. See, we're going after everybody, even presidents of the United States. Oh, yeah? Well, you're not going after the sitting president of the United States because he broke the law even more, as did his kid, right? So there are people who are above the law, right? They're just, they're making the laws. They're in the White House. So it is a two-tiered system. It's complete hypocrisy, and nothing evidences that more